Hello all, this is James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade, and I'm here to talk about the official trailer for The Rise of Skywalker. The first and most simple thing that comes to my head is Admiral Akbar screaming, "It's a trap!" Because that is, if you could simplify my reaction to this trailer, Admiral Akbar screaming "It's a trap" is just, it hits it square on the nail with the head of the hammer. I mean, it fits it perfectly. This trailer makes me say, WTF, does LucasArts have a clue? Do they understand that they've lost a huge portion of their audience and that this isn't doing anything to bring us back? This only shows us that they have the same limited imagination and can't figure out how to do something new. All they can figure out how to do is ruin what's already been done. I don't want anything else ruined. You've already destroyed Luke Skywalker. Completely, utterly butchered Luke Skywalker. You took Luke Skywalker, the hero of a generation, and ripped his balls off and turned him into a laughing stock. The worst Jedi Master to ever exist. The failure of the Jedi is what you turned Luke into. Thanks. But we're here for the trailer, so I suppose we should watch some of it. Why is she panting like a dog? What's the point of the stupid panting? Sure, she might be standing in the desert and hot, and maybe she was just running from something, but really? Do we have to start every trailer with somebody panting? Huh. This is the third movie. So, The Force Awakens, I didn't mind it so much. I want to go into how I felt about The Force Awakens when I was leaving the movie theater. When I left the theater after The Force Awakens, I had a couple of things running through my mind. One of the things that was running through my mind way long ago was that was a safe movie. I felt like Disney played it very safe by basically recreating Star Wars. They copied the storyline of Star Wars: A New Hope so closely that it was like they were playing it safe. It was like that they knew that there were people like me that existed that was very disappointed with what George Lucas did with the last three movies. The original trilogy is Star Wars. It is everything that made Star Wars great. It was character development. It was the creation of heroes that had flaws and had to work to overcome their flaws. It was a cast that had such great chemistry, and it didn't just rely on special effects. And yes, we know how George Lucas wanted to show off the great special effects for the last three movies, and he wanted the Clone Wars to be all of this, and he wanted these space battles to be all of that. But those last three movies, they forgot character interaction. They forgot chemistry of cast members. They forgot plot. All it was special effects, lots of pew pew. I mean, Sure, seeing Yoda have a lightsaber duel was pretty freaking cool. And sure, seeing how the Emperor went from being a senator to becoming the Emperor was fairly well done. At least, there was some credibility to the plot that built up to the original trilogy and made some cohesive sense. And so, from that point of view, you could forgive the fact that it was just all about showing off his special effects. That's all those movies were special effects. And then there was Jar Jar Binks, which let's not even get started on that. But when Force Awakens came out, and LucasArts gave up Star Wars, and now we had somebody new at the helm, I was excited. I was excited that maybe Disney could right the ship. Maybe Disney could put things back on the rails, and make a movie with character development and chemistry and scenes and acting and something that was more than just special effects like the last 3 movies that Lucas made. And so The Force Awakens left me hopeful. Yeah, I was really disappointed to see Han Solo die. I wasn't too thrilled about that. I was very disappointed with the limited amount of time that Han and Leia were on the screen, and the fact that Han, Luke, and Leia didn't all come together in the screen. That's travesty. I still can't get over how they didn't bring Han, Luke, and Leia back together. It pisses me off to no end that they didn't bring some closure to the greatest story in the known universe. They've slapped the old fans. They've killed our heroes. They've destroyed our heroes. Han is dead. Luke is dead. Leia might as well be dead. She somehow floated through space. She should be dead right now. She should be a corpse out in space. That whole bullshit that she did, like Mary Poppins in outer space, was just... It wasn't Star Wars. It was something... Maybe it was Star Trek, but it wasn't Star Wars. So anyway, I'm rambling and getting off course here. At least The Force Awakens, it started me off with some hope, and it started me off seeing Rey. It started me off seeing Rey just like this, on a desert planet, in the same freaking clothes. This is how many years later? I don't even know anymore. How many years later is this movie? 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, 9 years? She looks exactly the same. She hasn't aged any, and she's wearing the same freaking clothes. I don't get it. Oh wait, I do get it. It's probably for freaking toys. Disney is trying to make money selling this Leia costume character in the toy store. But newsflash, Disney, if you want to sell Leia action figures, instead of giving her the same clothes, make her someone people can relate to. Give her failure. Let her suffer. Let her fail. Let her fall down. She hasn't failed. She is the perfect hero that can do no wrong without even having been trained. The Last Jedi, Luke didn't train her. She has no training. I'm so annoyed. Well, let's continue on, or we're never going to get through this trailer.
We've passed on all we know.
And now we have a voice of Luke Skywalker. My hero, Luke Skywalker. But that voice, that's not Luke Skywalker. That's broken Skywalker. That's Skywalker failure. Claiming that we've passed on all we know? You didn't do jack diddly squat. You did nothing. You were useless. You didn't teach her a single damn thing except how to drink horrible looking milk from awful looking creatures and how to hide from your problems on a back-asswards planet in the middle of nowhere. That's what you taught her. Passed on all we know? You didn't pass on jack. What did Ray just grab? Ray just grabbed the lightsaber that doesn't die. So this is Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber. This is the same lightsaber that got wrecked in the lightsaber battle with Vader and Luke in Empire Strikes Back. You know, when Luke confronted his fear, when Luke confronted Vader and lost because he was too cocky and too arrogant and wasn't ready, but went up against Vader anyway, even after he was told not to, and got his hand cut off because of it. You know, that time when Luke failed and barely escaped. When did Ray fail? Has Ray failed? I haven't seen Ray fail. Has anyone seen Ray fail? Ray hasn't done anything that has failed. I mean, she could somehow magically use a lightsaber that was broken in The Empire Strikes Back. Somehow she's fixed this lightsaber without any Jedi training. And if she had Jedi training, then she would have made her own damn lightsaber, because that's part of what becoming a Jedi is all about. The trial to become a Jedi Knight is the trial to make your own lightsaber. That's what was so important about Return of the Jedi, when Luke Skywalker showed up with his new lightsaber that he made himself. He showed that he passed the test. He went from being a Jedi apprentice who was wielding somebody else's lightsaber to becoming a Jedi Knight because he made his own lightsaber. Rey's still using Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, the lightsaber that can't seem to be destroyed, that seems to magically time travel through space and time, and always ends up in everybody's hands.
1,000 generations live in you now.
1,000 generations live in you now. Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't mean jack. A pointless speech right now is what I'm hearing.
But this is your fight.
This is your fight. Of course it's your fight. And you haven't been trained. But now you have to have your fight. This is where you become like Luke had Return of the Jedi, where he was a Jedi Knight, and he had to face Vader. And in facing Vader, he probably elevated himself to Jedi Master material. But was he a Jedi Master? No. He was just a heroic Jedi Knight at that point, who basically saved the universe and redeemed his father. It doesn't get more emotional, more meaningful than that. But you know, it's her fight, her strange fight, where every generation has a legend. Maybe every generation has a legend. My generation had Luke and Leia and Solo, R2-D2, C3PO, Chewbacca. We had our legends. What does this generation have? Poe? That's not much. What else does this generation have? Rey? It's not, again, she hasn't failed. She hasn't earned the right to even be a Jedi Knight. She hasn't made her own lightsaber, so she's still a Jedi apprentice going into her third movie, where she's going to have to face her big bad, and she's never been trained. Where are the legends of this generation? Where are they? Rose Tico? I mean, what? Where are the legends? There are no legends. Nobody's been built up to legend status in these three movies. Nobody is anywhere near being on par. I'm sorry. Your bad guy, Kylo Ren, is not a believable bad guy. Rian Johnson decided to take his mask off, which is the worst thing that could have ever happened, because as soon as that mask came off, I lost all credibility of seeing that person as a bad guy ever again. Kylo Ren is not intimidating. Kylo Ren is not bad. Kylo Ren is just a teenage brat that needs a good paddling. I mean, there's nothing scary about a teenage brat with a lightsaber. Sorry, it doesn't scare me. Palpatine scared me. Vader scared me. The Empire scared me. The Empire had actual military commanders that were competent, really good military commanders, and when they failed, they still got killed by Vader. This new bad guys, they have Huxley. That guy's an idiot, a moron. How is the moron in charge of the entire bad guy navy? How did he become the most powerful admiral in this, whatever this is? I mean, it's a joke. It's not even funny. The bad guys were not scary. Snoke wasn't scary. But then again, Snoke was killed by a Jedi apprentice who didn't even know what she was doing. Had no fucking training at all, but got killed by the Mary Sue Ray. I'm sorry, this generation doesn't have any legends. Hate to break your bubble. What did we just see go by? Do you know what that was? That was a TIE interceptor. Not a TIE fighter, but a TIE interceptor. Twin ion engine. A fighter that doesn't have hyperdrive, that's made to be carried by Star Destroyers and other Imperial ships to act as, interceptors. It's not the type of ship that goes flying around inside of atmospheres. Just like the X-Wing wasn't a ship that they used for flying around inside of atmospheres. If you wanted to fly something around inside of atmospheres, you used a different type of ship that was designed for that. And if you did, you certainly didn't fly it like this, a TIE interceptor skimming the ground like a foot over the top of it, pushing the envelope on speeds. Sorry, no. I don't even believe it. I can't believe this scene. And it gets worse. Let's look at this scene, shall we? Rey's not a very big girl. She's about to do a somersault over the top of a TIE interceptor. There's so many things wrong with this TIE interceptor. It's not even funny. The scale is completely wrong. TIE interceptors are far bigger than this. The cockpit on that TIE interceptor is barely big enough to hold one person the size of Rey. A TIE interceptor can hold 3 people, a pilot and 2 others. That cockpit can't hold no 3 people. The wings on that are wrong. There's the scale. The scale on the TIE interceptor is just, it's out to lunch. And again, it's flying through atmosphere, doing stupid sci-fi tricks. I mean, this is special effects for special effects' sake. This isn't special effects done with intellect. This is not something the viewer can sit back and watch and be like, oh, that was a real thought-provoking scene. This scene is nothing but special effects for special effects' sake. And that's the entire problem with the last 3 movies that George Lucas did. Stupid special effects for the sake of doing special effects. But hey, I guess we'll get more special effects in this movie. The big bad guy is having to kill some soldier himself. And he's having to do it using his hilt. The supreme evil in the universe. Somehow, a bad guy gets close enough to be struck down by the most evil person in the universe. What? Where's his stormtrooper contingent? Where is his personal guard? Where is the shields and hordes of men that should be standing in front of him, keeping this from happening? And then, what the fuck? He could have force choked the guy before he came even near him. He could have force repelled the guy before he came even near him. There's so many other ways that he could have killed this guy. But he has to do it with a last resort tactic. The hilt on his lightsaber, while cool, isn't your primary purpose of a lightsaber. It's not your primary way of killing people. It's a last resort weapon with a random soldier, a random bad guy, or a random good guy, or yeah, he's probably a good guy, but he's a nobody good guy. He doesn't pose any threat. He never should have made it this close to Kylo. This is part of what is wrong with this whole scene. Is just, it fails in so many ways, and it's all so that they can show off the cool lightsaber with the pointy hilt. Now here we've got the mask being shown, which is one of the few good things. Basically, yes, the mask has been fixed, and please keep it on his head, because he's not believable as a bad guy without it. But in that last scene, he didn't have a mask on, did he? So, yeah. How much of the movie will he actually have the mask on? Now we get to be shown some of the worthless characters. In the original trilogy, there were no worthless characters. R2 was badass, right? This little guy, BB-8, I think his name is. He's like a bargain version of R2. He's lame. And then you got Poe back there, who's like this wannabe Han Solo who hasn't gotten enough screen time to be considered a Han Solo. At this point, we're going into the third movie. By the third movie, we were already pretty much, we knew who Han Solo was, and he meant something to the viewers. Poe, we're still learning who the hell Poe is. He seems like he could be one of the only decent characters in this whole thing, but we still don't know Poe. We've barely touched the surface with him because of all the stupid things they did last movie. Nice scene. Two of our heroes from the original trilogy. But you know what? I don't want to see this in the trailer. Because I have no faith in LucasArts at this point. They killed Han Solo very lamely. They completely screwed up Luke Skywalker to no end. And now we have two of our remaining heroes on screen, Lando and Chewie. Please don't mess them up. That's all I can say. I see this shot, and it makes me cringe. It leaves me fearful. How are they gonna ruin Lando and Chewie? mean, it's so awesome to see Lando laughing like that in the Falcon. That is the most inspiring part of this entire trailer for me. It's the only thing that looks Star Wars like in this trailer for me, and it only leaves me with fear of what are they gonna mess up. So, does this look familiar to anyone? It should. What was the third movie in the original trilogy? Return of the Jedi. On the desert planet, when Luke was on the desert planet and they were running around in skiffs near Jabba's palace. What is it with J.J. Abrams not having his own original ideas? So he copied Star Wars A New Hope so meticulously. And now this is the third movie of this new quote-unquote trilogy. And here we see something so reminiscent to something that happened in the third movie of the original trilogy that it makes you wonder, are we going to end up over a Sarlacc pit again? Are we going to be outside of Jabba's palace again? Is this going to happen? Are we going to be on Tatooine? I hope not. We see one of the medals, or we assume one of the medals that Leia gave out. And then we see this scene. Leia hugging Rey. Is this supposed to make us more emotionally attached to Rey as a character? It's not helping. Yes, I love Princess Leia. I would have married her if I could have. But alas, it was never meant to be. But Rey doesn't inspire me in the slightest. She's not likable. She's not Leia. And having Leia hug her isn't going to make me like her anymore than I already dislike her. The only way I'm going to like Rey is if she actually develops as a character. She actually fails. But she hasn't failed yet. And how could she fail in the last movie? How can we fit in a failure? How can we have her fail and be redeemed before the big fight, all in the final movie? We can't. There's not enough time. Not unless they make another one, but they're calling this the end, right? This is supposedly the final one. Yeah. So you just you completely botch things, Disney. And really, Rian Johnson really botched things, because it was Rian Johnson's job to actually give some development to Rey. JJ introduced us to Rey. Coming out of the first movie, I knew who Rey was. This new girl, this new future Jedi, bright-eyed and bushy-toed, kind of similar to seeing Luke after Star Wars. probably same par. But in The Empire Strikes Back, Luke developed as a character. In The Last Jedi, Rey did not develop as a character. There was no development of Rey. So, I don't know. I don't know.
We'll always be with you.
And here we are, looking at what can only be assumed to be a Death Star. For the love of God, why do we have to have yet another Death Star in a Star Wars movie? There's been too many freaking Death Stars. It's absurd. And I'm sorry, but all of the Death Stars, they were vaporized. They were blown up. They were disintegrated. There was nothing left of them. We saw the explosions with our own eyes. There was nothing left. There was no corpse to fall to a planet. This is just BS. Why does J.J. Abrams keep throwing Death Stars into these movies? I don't understand. I don't get it. Come up with something new.
No one's ever really gone.
Luke has to say no one's ever really gone. And then we have to hear the laugh. The maniacal, evil laugh that really brought true fear to the original trilogy. Part of the reason the original trilogy was so good was because the bad guys truly instilled fear. Vader was scary. And the Emperor, he was scary too. And that laugh was scary. But he's dead. He's freaking dead. Vader killed him. Vader was redeemed for killing the Emperor, wiping him off the face of the planet. He's gone. Anakin's Force Ghost came back and stood next to Yoda and Obi-Wan at the fire while Luke looked over and saw them. He redeemed his father. The emotional ending to Return of the Jedi can only be emotional if Palpatine is dead. And if you want to take the greatest episode of all of Star Wars and throw it out the window to somehow bring Palpatine back to life because you can't figure out how to make a bad guy worth being scared of? You can't make an original bad guy that's scary? You have to bring Palpatine back? Really? Fuck me. And then that title. The Rise of Skywalker. The Rise of Skywalker already happened. It was the Return of the Jedi. Anakin Skywalker was redeemed. Luke Skywalker became a Jedi Knight. That was the pinnacle of the Skywalker family. Skywalker's already rose. This title sucks. Even if Rey's a Skywalker, this title still sucks. Sorry, this title sucks. Have I said this title sucks? This title screams, we need to somehow placate the old fans, so we're going to put the word Skywalker in the title. Like, by putting the word Skywalker in the title is somehow going to fix all the damage you did to Luke in the last movie. It's somehow going to repair it and make it right. Nope, not going to happen. So yeah, there's that. I don't. I don't know what else to say. I think I've pretty much covered this trailer from start to finish. I don't need to ramble anymore. You guys have pretty much figured out how I feel about this trailer. I'm not holding any punches here. I don't have a lot of hope for the movie, especially after seeing this trailer. And maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe when I go see the movie, I'll discover that I was completely wrong. And maybe I'll end up doing a video where I have to eat crow and say, you know, that was one of the greatest movies ever. But I highly doubt that's going to happen. I'd love it if I was wrong. I'd love it if there could be another great Star Wars movie. Nothing would make me happier. But I don't see how it could be possible. I don't see how it could be possible to get me past the damage that you did to my hero. You ruined Luke Skywalker. You destroyed Luke Skywalker. You utterly decimated Luke Skywalker. And I don't know if there's any forgiving that. Anyway, I'm James Johnson. This is my channel. Hopefully you appreciate my content. If so, leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, peace.